Good evening. It is now 6:01 on September 2nd, 2025. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Board. The Planning Board is a 7-member board. Any special permit decision of this board requires a 2/3 vote. We currently have a vacancy, so we are a 6-member board. 2/3 of a 7-member board is 5. Obviously, this is a little off. If only 5 members vote, the vote would have to be unanimous. Any decision on preliminary and definitive plans, approval not required, and proposed zoning amendments requires a majority vote of the full board. Any decision on scenic road permits requires a majority of the quorum present. Any person giving testimony must state and spell their name and provide their street address for the record. All questions from the public should be directed through the chair. That would be me. This meeting is live and streamed on Sandwich Community Television's website and on local channel 9. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on the Sandwich Community Television website at www.sandwichtv.org tomorrow. According to town bylaw, meetings are audio recorded. If anyone intends to also record, kindly notify the chair. Thank you very much. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Because it is the first meeting of the month, we will now open it up for public comment. Any members of the public who wish to be heard about anything, regardless of whether it's on the agenda, may be heard at this time. If you would like to come forward, if you have a public comment for our continued public hearing today, you can certainly be heard when we address that agenda item. I don't hear any other public comment. The next item on the agenda is submission of new plans. Is there anyone in the public here today who has a submission of a new plan that we have not been notified of yet? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to the next meeting agenda item, and that would be old business. So the item is 54 Route 6A, a special permit for Syria Standard Energy LLC. This is continued. This is a continued public hearing, and that public hearing remains open at this time. I would like to make a brief announcement. Jennifer Reisig and Julie Fox did not attend the last hearing on August 19th, 2025, which was a public hearing. However, they have both listened to the audio recording of the meeting and have signed an affidavit to that effect. This allows them to participate and deliberate on the matter. And this is for the purpose of a large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic installation. I would like to acknowledge a few things. Let's see. First, I'm going to acknowledge Syria Standard Energy's first draft response. That was from Aman, thank you, submitted on August 27th. This was included in our board's meeting packet this evening. Do you want me to read that? I don't think it is noted in the record. Okay, great. Also, I would at this time would like to acknowledge an additional public comment email from Laura Marshall. Right, so this was addressed to Steve Tucker on Monday, September 1st, 2025, from Laura Marshall. The subject matter was 54 Route 6A solar installation, follow-up photos concerning setback distances, and provided attachments, 3 noted, 3 JPEGs noted on that. Dear Planning Board, in anticipation of the September 2nd meeting, in the meeting agenda, information Maureen sent out, I wanted to share these photos taken of the current conditions. Please note the distance was estimated as I didn't have a laser with me to confirm, and we look forward to the discussion. And there was a subsequent, there were the prior email exchange provided in below that new comment. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the matter to Steve Tucker for an update.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So as mentioned, we had additional comment about the construction that's already underway for the permitted project with some photographs that you've all been able to see. We also have new information in the form of a narrative from the applicant that came in August 27th. And we just received access to plans electronically that are cited in that narrative that provide new details along the lines of vegetative screening and emergency vehicle access. So between the narrative and the new plans and some additional background documents the applicant provided that were in the packet, those were to address some of the comments raised by the public at the last hearing. And the applicants here are the public. So, here we go.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Sam, would you like to make any additional comment at this time?
I did have an opportunity to look at the narrative and the materials that were associated with that, which included reduced size images of plan sheets. Those images, though, most of the text that was on it was illegible. And so I really can't provide comment as to whether or not my previous comments have been addressed.
Okay. And so was there any exchange of communication with Surya about whether or not those could be further reviewed?
Well, I understand that there may have been new submittals late this afternoon, full-size plans, which I have not yet seen. So I'll review those at the next opportunity.
Aman, would you at this time like to provide some additional information about what was submitted? And please be sure to obviously state your name, spell your last name, and your address.
My name is Amanullah Aman, and I'm the CEO of Surya Standard Energy LLC. My office is based in Dedham, Mass. 3 Allied Drive, Suite 107, Dedham, Mass.
My name is Raj Patel. I operate a Sandwich Lodge and Resort from last 22 years, and everything is so far improving. Whole 22 years and doing good. We try to make this more improvement with your help.
Thank you. Would you like to say anything about what was
Yes.
provided today as
Right.
Mr. Jensen had commented?
So in the last the planning board meeting and public hearing, I could take 5 or 6 real key concerns and issues that were raised, plus the note that came from the engineering team and the firefighter and all other different memos. So the draft that we sent last week with a lot of research done on published work that has been done in the U.S. in various parts of the country, and so we basically have answered most of the questions that were asked or raised. So the noise, there is no noise, as per you can see. Also, the supporting documents that has been done by reputed, American firms with respect to the noise. The glare, we have responded to the glare question, and there are no glare, and the way technology works. The EMF, there has been solid research done in the U.S. For the EMF generated by solar panels. So that has been answered with the reference of work done by national laboratories in the U.S. The visibility from the abutters, that was one of the major concerns. We have proposed a little bit of vegetative shrubs on the portions that are open at this moment in time that we can place in, and so the solar panel will be totally invisible from all the sides of the abutters. With respect to water drainage, I spoke to Raj and many other. There has been no problem on the water drainage at that place, but we also proposed putting some sort of a small 2.5 feet drainage in case that is required. And the last question was about the firefighter access, and we have given explicit firefighter access and the knock box that was required. So we tried to respond to most of the queries and the concerns, and we feel that these queries that are part of what we can do, or what an installer can do, has taken care of most of the issues that were raised by the memos as well as by the public during the public hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anyone from the board have a question or comment?
I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah, great.
I know at the last time we met, there was concern about the type of fencing that was going to be put in. Did you give any consideration to fencing that was more substantial than a chain link fence?
We have not given any consideration beyond what we have done. We seek your, of course, your guidance there. Anything beyond the chain link is going to be extremely expensive. And I had not put that price into my price when I gave it to him. So
One other question.
Yes.
I know you talked about vegetation, planting vegetation around. Will that be evergreen vegetation so that during the winter months it will still be full and robust so that?
I have not thought through that, but I will adhere to whatever is required to be done, to make sure the concerns are taken care of.
So it sounds like you would be amenable to some kind of condition of an evergreen that would provide less, basically a shielding of
Yes.
visibility
Yeah.
as well as a little bit of noise absorption.
Right. Yeah. With respect to noise, if I may come back, there is no noise. At 50 feet or at 100 feet. There is no noise even at 15 feet in a real solar system. But 100 feet, of course, there will be no noise. Just an additional comment. But yes, we'll do whatever is
I
required.
did read the information
Sure.
that you provided with regard to the noise. I know that the abutters, may not be convinced
Sure,
completely by
absolutely.
that. So
Yeah, no,
if there's additional shielding that can be
Yeah.
offered, that might be helpful.
Sure.
The chain link fence, I think that you noted was going to be 5 feet. Is
6
that-
feet.
6 feet, thank
Yes.
you. Okay.
Right. And amenable to things that the board wants. I mean, absolutely. If you have to do the project, we have to hear the board and comply with the requirements. So,
And I know you've got a commitment to get along with the neighbors as well.
Absolutely.
It's in everyone's interest.
yeah.
And obviously, just to reiterate some of the things that were submitted as responses, in case people of the public would like to know, but I did find it interesting you were gonna maintain the property with mowing and manual care, lawn care, not any, obviously, we had heard previously that there was gonna be no pesticides and
That's
things like
right.
that being used, so it's obviously gonna be, under your care, right, to take care of the property and maintain that area. And that would be the condition. Okay.
Is the chain link fence now shielded with the shrubbery
Yes. So
wholly?
yeah, so the chain link is way out. I mean, so the property line, then we have a 40 feet, right? And then again, I wish to see if my the PLS has done all the survey, the professional licensed surveyor, and they have given the markings where is 25 feet and where is 40 feet. But if there is a mistake, more than eager and happy to go back and change, my starting point. So that's I'm amenable to that as well. But yes, it's a shrub, and then 40 feet later, a 6 feet fence from all direction.
And did we establish what the minimum setback was from a private property line from an abutter?
I think actually we had said it was only like 10 feet, right?
For the building permit they currently have, it would just be 10 feet.
Yep.
They've proposed 25 feet, and that's what they were approved for, and then this project would put it at 40 feet.
Okay, so that's confirmed, the 40 feet's confirmed with what's been submitted.
That's what they're proposing right now,
Correct.
is 40 feet.
So with the, so from like this picture here,
Yeah,
so this seemingly would just be not very visible if you put up the solar panels.
yes.
That would be, so even with the chain link fence, if that screening were to be there, would it still be visible from the abutters? Because that could impact them, you know, and it was brought up as concern.
So,
So, you know, from a visibility standpoint, if there's enough of density in foliage and shrubbery and trees, maybe the chain link fence could work, presuming that those remained. You know, otherwise I might be more in favor of a wood fence, similar to the one that we approved over down by Peters Pond on 130. That looks very nice and it makes the solar panels not very visible close by.
so shrubs, we will definitely make sure that they're dense and then there's only 2 or 3 places, if I really look into the entire area, that have 3 to 4 feet of opening that one can see from this side to the other side. So only very little, and that could be really put, you know, a dense shrub could be put in there.
So there are some spaces
Yeah.
currently that are
2
still
to 3
visible.
places, you know, in the entire, you know, this side is around 200 to 250 feet on one side, and this side is probably 150 feet. Maybe 2 or 3 places of 2 to 3 feet each is what is really open, you know, that the person from the other side can see inside.
So I'd like to make a point is that we're currently at the maximum amount of vegetation for the site. And it's going to look quite different in the wintertime. I'm not sure how much of the vegetation along that property line consists of evergreen versus non-evergreen. For that reason, I think it's important that there should be some sort of a continuous barrier, visual barrier along that property line. I agree, you may be able to make use of the existing evergreen that's already there along the line, but it should be, no question that it should be screened off from the existing neighbor. Also, a question I had about the, at what point does the height of the vegetation become an issue for you in terms of the production of solar energy on this array? Are you going to have to cut the vegetation to maintain it to a certain height?
So, you know, there are multiple trees on this side, and the distance of the panels so much on the other side, even a 20 feet, you know, is not a problem, right? But again, it's all economics, and we want to make sure that, you know, we don't spend too much money on this side that makes the project unviable. So you can also see what makes the project unviable and what makes it, you know, the way it is. So, yeah, 6 feet is more than enough in our opinion of the shrubs. But it could go higher as well if need be. But that is economics one more time, making sure that this extra 30 kilowatt doesn't take a price of 100 kilowatt, right? Putting the 30 kilowatt is not then viable for us.
Understood.
This panel is not that high, I think they're coming up to 4
Yeah,
feet.
yeah.
Right, I understand that. It's more about where the panels are going to be viewed from the neighbor's property, right? If they're up high looking down onto this, then it's a matter that we should consider as well. Maybe 6 feet is enough. I just don't know.
I think so.
And would it be 6 feet, there's a space underneath, right, for things to come kind of crawl in and out? I see underneath the fence, there would need to be a space. So 6 feet would be not including that space on the bottom. Would the fence itself be 6 feet plus the underneath space?
I think the total height is 6 feet. Total height is 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I want to confirm my understanding from the last meeting that this project's already permitted to go forward at a lower capacity.
That's right.
Without screening, without concern for the visual from the neighbor. To get the additional capacity that you're requesting here, we're just looking to enhance the neighbor's experience. But if it's too onerous, you can just go with the previous
That is correct.
permit, which would be no trees and no
That's correct.
screening and no, so I just want to be, for me.
No, but as a good neighbor, we have to do
No,
what needs
appreciate
to be
that.
done,
I
right?
appreciate
mean,
that.
Yeah, we don't want to create this issue for the neighbor. But if we're still going to do the fence, we are still going to do that path for the firefighters. We have to do that, whether and that was already asked by the building department. So I think we are going to be doing our best of the best. It's just that if we get this permission, we are adding 30 kilowatt more, and if you don't, it's okay. Okay.
So, and you would take into account whatever requests are made for the board in terms of fencing and screening. That'll go into your economics, your calculation, and you'll decide to go one way or another.
That's right.
I know issues came up around the drainage. Is that resolved? I mean, are there issues regarding drainage?
In my view, it's not.
It's not resolved.
Right. I have not seen materials that adequately detail how stormwater runoff will be managed on the site during construction and after construction. So,
That neighborhood that abuts the property has had drainage issues, is that correct?
That's my
Could
understanding.
compound that potentially?
yes, yeah, so there is a lower area, I believe it's to the southwest of this site. A portion of this site may contribute runoff to that. This would be a change in surface type and runoff characteristics. And so I can't look at this and just simply outright say that it won't be a problem.
Okay. That's for sure. So you need more information, Sam. Okay, thank you.
Is that information included in the plans that you've yet to review?
That's correct. So sorry about the late, sending. This file size was too big and it just could not get through. So thank you, Steve, for reminding. I just sent it. Go to the next couple of A107 or this is the latest one that I sent today. Go down a little bit. So put together on the east side, a 2.5 feet drainage. Go down. I mean, there's a drainage somewhere. I don't remember the exact page. Go down, please. Yep, this one. So that's a 2.5 feet on that 2.5 feet drainage from stormwater drain. And this is something that my engineers have done. I'd spoken to Mr. Raj Patel and he said there was no requirement, but then we put it there.
We have 5 stone drain behind the building,
I'm sorry, what's that?
5 stone drain in the ground, 10-15 feet deep.
A stone drain?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we never had an issue. So, and the water gonna go, because this is on the high and building on the lower side. So I don't think it's any issue, but you never know.
Understand that. I would just like to take a closer look at what's been submitted for me, myself, to be able to provide it.
Any other questions right now? Board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the time.
And I would imagine we have some members from the public who may wish to be heard today. So I'm just going to ask, we'll start in the front on this side of the room, work our way around one at a time. Again, please state your name, your address. Please be respectful. We know there's some frustrations generally about some of the things from the residents, but we, diplomatic environment, and we just ask to hear your comments so that we can keep those in mind. So it sounds like you'd
Sure.
like to be first, I believe.
I'd like to share a photo of the winter view of the back of the lodge. It didn't occur to me to send this to you earlier, but this gives you a lovely view of the back of a not lovely building. So as you look at that and you think about.
Could you just state your
Sure,
name?
Laura Marshall,
Thank you.
43 Tyler Drive. As you look at that photo and you think about the chain link fence, it's clear to me that.
So Laura, is this your house?
Yes,
Okay.
that's my backyard. So I can see the back of that building very clearly. In an effort to try and help them compromise with costs, perhaps a wood fence could be put on the sides where the abutters have the most visual impact, which would be along this side here and this side. And then as a cost-saving measure, they could do chain link on the other two sides that face the hotel. That way, that will reduce the cost for them to put in a typical New England fence that is consistent with the character of the neighborhood and of Sandwich, because I certainly haven't seen too many chain link fences as I drive through Sandwich ever. So maybe that's a way to help them save money, but address the neighbors' concerns.
Do you think, if you want to have a seat, do you think that you could send that photo
Yeah, I'd be
to
happy to.
the planning department?
Yep,
Okay,
I'd be happy to do
great,
that.
so that we could have a copy of that?
I do have one other photo to show you.
What is the height of the stone wall?
I think it's
Foot and a half.
it's
Foot and a
below
half.
my knees.
Yeah.
I mean, I can easily step onto it, so maybe not even 24 inches. I have one other photo I wanted to share with you as well. And this is what I can see today.
Okay.
So to his point, he's only seeing a few breaks in the bramble, but as you could see from my photograph, that bramble will be gone in the fall. So I will have a full visual of this solar array, which was not part of what I bargained for when I bought the house.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
I also note that I didn't obviously have the ability, I didn't have a laser, so I couldn't measure the depth of the bramble, because I'm assuming that the property line is at that rock fence where the bramble is. I stuck a measuring tape through that and I got to about 18 feet. So when he says he's at 40 feet, I'm assuming that doesn't mean the conditions as they exist today based on those photos that I sent you, because those rocks are coming right up to the bramble in places, maybe 3 feet away from that. So what I was seeing did not appear to be 40 feet to me, but I would defer to the town officials, obviously, to take a look at that and measure accordingly.
So is the setback from the final installed array, or is the setback from the construction disturbance to install the array?
So what happens is when they submit their plans, they have to meet setbacks. So those are the plans that they say they're going to build. Once it's built, they have to submit an as-built plan from a certified engineer, land surveyor, that states where it is. If it does not meet the setback that it's required to be at, they will have to move it.
But if the final installation doesn't,
Correct.
but they could, during construction, they could be disturbingly closer, and then, yep.
So I guess my question is, it's clearly not, it doesn't look 40 feet from my opinion. Only 35 years of experience in commercial real estate, so, what's 35 feet, right? But it doesn't appear to be 40 feet from my perspective.
Could you just clarify that when you say that what you are seeing, you
Yeah.
use the messaging?
So what I see
What
is-
are you actually seeing? Because obviously what we're.
No, I understand that. I didn't see any field verified surveyors marks out there.
It would only be, so at the final construction is
Yep.
when.
I understand that.
Need
So
that
perhaps
information.
they've wasted money getting too close to the bramble. That's unfortunate for them, but it does not appear to be a 40-foot setback from the property line, if that is in fact, you just asked the question though for clarity, so perhaps that's our misunderstanding. So I'm just saying, when I read the response, it said a 40-foot setback. That I went out to look at it to say, gee, is this really 40 feet? It does not appear to be 40 feet to me. It appears to be about 20.
Are you saying 40 feet to where they've started some type of construction?
Correct,
area,
from the property line. I'm assuming my property line is what you could see in that photo, which is that rock wall ending, and that's where the bramble starts. So I'm assuming the bramble is on their property, and it looks to me like it's about 18 feet deep. So if we start at my rock wall, we've got about 18 feet of bramble, and then I paced off 3 feet from the bramble. That gets us to like 21 feet, so not 40. So at any rate, I also saw that he was going to put up a 6-foot chain link fence and then put 5-foot tree, 5-foot vegetation around it. I too appreciate the suggestion that it be evergreen. Clearly, you can see I'm looking at the back of this building. And it's not just me, I just happen to be the loudest voice in the room today. But, so I would suggest that if we could do something a little bit more New England and in keeping with Sandwich's historic district, I'll use that term loosely for our neighborhood, I would think a wooden fence on 2 sides would be a good compromise and still allow them to reduce costs by having chain link on the hotel side. The other thing I noted is they've got about 25 feet between the end of the solar array and their flat area. So they've hugged this array as close to the abutters as possible, and I'm wondering why it is not shift a little bit closer to the hotel. So those were my primary comments. Okay.
Just clarifying, are you desiring a wooden fence and an evergreen shrub line, or one or the other?
They offered it, so I don't want to concede anything at this point. That's why my concession would have been to say, let's do wood on 2 sides, because if it's chain link, I'm still going to see it. Those evergreen trees are not going to be put together next like little soldiers, right? They're going to need 8 feet between them. So if you have a chain link fence and vegetation, which if each tree, let's call it an arborvitae, you have to plant them 8 feet apart. They're going to start off with 5 feet. I got 1 foot on top that I'm seeing the chain link fence, and then the 8 feet between each tree, because you have to give the tree room to grow. So without a wood fence, we are still looking through that.
Right, that would either, I'm just mentally trying to picture, either one, fence or evergreen, would improve the view you have today.
Either one would, but the evergreen I don't trust because nobody's going to maintain it anyway. So those trees could go bad. They might not grow there. They're certainly going to take a long time before they're going to fill in. I'd rather see a fence.
Okay, understood.
So the other thing I just wanted to note is on the decibel rating, it said there was a certain decibel rating at 150 feet in that material. If they're not hitting a 40-foot setback, they sure as heck aren't 150 feet away from us. So I just want to point that out as a factual matter from what I read. That seemed inconsistent when I read through that document that was attached to the meeting.
This is the inverters, which are on the other side.
Correct. I also have a letter from my abutter, from our neighbor, Randy, who was unable to make it. I don't know if you want me to give it to you or if you'd like me to read it to you.
You're welcome to read it.
Okay.
And then you can provide that copy and.
Okay.
Before we do that, can we just clarify what you were saying? The distance for the noise is from the inverter, which is 150 feet from the.
I don't know what the distance is, but it's much further than 40 feet. The 40
Yes.
feet is the. Yeah.
I understand that it's more than 40 feet. I just don't know that they're not at 40 feet today. So is that inverter really 150 feet away? If they're not at a 40-foot setback today, I'm simply saying, I'm not convinced it's 150 feet away because it's not at 40 feet, right? So it's just something that needs to be verified. So this letter is from Randy Andrews. He owns 39 and 37 Tyler Drive. So he was present at the last meeting. He was just unable to get here this afternoon, and he asked me to read this to you. He would like to ask the board to help our neighborhood and address some of our concerns. He would ask for some type of drainage system to direct the water in the opposite direction from our properties into a retaining area. We were already dealing with water table issues, such as sump pumps having water during dry season already and the puddles of water that remain on Tyler Drive. Other concerns are our septic systems dealing with excess water. The crushed stone does not absorb the water like the loam that was removed from the top of the property. Another concern is we are going to lose the vegetation between the properties in the fall. The chain link fence they are proposing will look like a prison. I would ask if you could require them to put up evergreen trees, such as a minimum of arborvitaes around the perimeter, and maintain them. Another concern is that they hire a pest control company to take care of the rodents that are running in our direction. I have seen an increase in mice since they started working on the project. Thank you, Randy Andrews.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bennett.
I have a question, just want to clarify. Just want to make sure I'm understanding. Do some of the neighbors have different ideas about what they'd like to see around, whether it's fence or greens?
We have a few neighbors here. I'll rather let them express their own opinions if you don't mind.
Certainly.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Eileen North, 47 Tyler Drive. I also have a picture of what my yard looks like in the winter. So you can pass that along to you. That is taken from our roof, but I have another picture taken from the actual backyard. But there's not much bramble. And we can get a clear view of the entire motel. Like Laura had mentioned, about the arborvitaes. We've planted arborvitaes on our property line 2 years ago. They haven't grown much more than a foot. They are about 4 feet tall right now, and they're still 7 feet apart from each other. Also, I found that the last meeting about the inverters, he said very close with the noise, very close, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet. You hear very small noise, but not past 20. It doesn't sound like he can come up with an exact footage in which you can hear the inverters from. He's just making up numbers at this point, it seems to me. And also too, you say that you don't want to provide any issues for the neighbors, but why don't you move it closer to the hotel? I think that that would be more inconvenient for you at this point because you don't want it that close to you, but we don't want it this
So
close
Ms.
to us
North,
either.
I just want you to understand that public comment is a period of time for you to be heard to the planning board.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So again, with how close it is to us, it would be nice if it was closer to the hotel than it is to us. And with the chain link fence, I agree with Laura that I think that maybe the fence on 2 sides would be good, the wooden fence. Because with that view in the wintertime that I can see of the motel, I don't want to be looking at a chain link fence. It's gonna look trashy and ratty, and I mean, this is already gonna bring down the property value of our house. I don't need it to look like junk out in the backyard too. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. North, if you could also send that photo
Okay.
into the planning department.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Ashley Freeman, Freeman on 33 Tyler. I'm coming up because you wanted to hear the opinions of other neighbors about the fence. I too would prefer never to see a chain link fence. I'd rather see the solar panels than a chain link fence, to be honest. So yeah, I think a wooden fence on both sides is a great compromise. I don't know how much that would cost and if it will be worth it for them in the end to do that. You know, we're both concerned about like it asking too much of them and not having it go through. So yeah. And then as far as the flooding, I'm myself and a neighbor to the left of me, that whole street actually gets flooded, our houses and the street itself. And so I would love to see that done well, and we really understand how the water will impact the neighborhood for sure.
Thank you.
Cody North, my wife and yourself. Just a quick question. According to Laura, who did a bunch of commercial real estate, we look like our property values are going to deplete or could be depleted by about 5%. So I'm curious as to why they can do something on their property that's going to cause devaluation in our property. We have nothing. We can do nothing about it. That seems very unfair and very against America and what we all stand for. So is there some sort of compensation if we go to sell our home? Maybe he can provide the 5% that I lost. If he wants to go ahead and put the solar panel in to make a quick buck and put it so close to our property values, or maybe he can put it again over by the hotel. But I suspect that he doesn't want his patrons to see the solar panel, much like we don't want to see it, because it would deplete his ability to make money. So that seems completely, I don't know why that's not against the law to be able to do that, but maybe we can get compensated somehow for it. Seems how he's already building. We basically have, I don't know, we can't do anything about it. We're just here squawking and talking about it, and apparently it's gonna keep going. So if it keeps going, regardless of the size of the panel, the size of the structure, then if we lose 5% of our value, that's a big deal. That's a lot of money. So maybe there's something we can get compensated for. And to the point of the chain link fence, it's worthless. Don't put the chain link fence up. We can see right through it. I mean, it's a lot of money for chain link fence too. You can go to Home Depot and get cedar fence links for a fraction of the cost. So I don't know where they're shopping, but that would be a lot better. We can't see it, and like they also had mentioned, was mentioned again, because the shrubbery, like our whole property line, you can see right through it, and the trees will take forever to grow. I mean, they just won't grow. That whole area right behind, we're right here. This whole section is us, and this whole area, there's trees and shrubs there. They haven't changed in size, and I've owned the property for 7 years. So, I mean, if they think they're going to grow it, and they better bring in trees. If they're going to do the trees, make sure the trees are 6 feet already, not 3 foot and grow it up to 6 feet. Because if they're 3 feet, they'll literally do nothing. That field is not very lush. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. North?
No, of the engineer.
Oh, yeah.
I agree, chain link fence is ugly. If you put up the cedar fencing, are we gonna get a guarantee? Because I have cedar fencing in my house and we're replacing it every 3 or 4 years, we're replacing a panel. So will you stay on top of that as the owner and replace as it goes along? Yeah, because it's just, that's gonna be even uglier. If the fence falls down and the trees don't take, just need to know that once the fencing's up, you're gonna also maintain that as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're sort of in a position here to do is we're not in a position, unfortunately, we've heard some people kind of mention it at the last meeting and tonight again at this meeting. You know, there's already been approval under certain guidelines, and the project could move forward under those guidelines by actually applying for this special, permit situation to have the increase in the voltage and to design it differently. There's opportunity for us to try to alleviate some of the concerns where if that request wasn't being made at all, then they could move forward and with anything. And I think we're not in a position, as the board to say this, we can compensate anybody for the loss in value of home or that we can undo what has been done before us. What we can do is, it sounds like the applicant is very willing to come up with some peace with the neighborhood as much as possible, right? That's still going to be beneficial for their cost balance, but where we might be able to impose certain conditions that they're willing to do, like cedar fencing, maintaining, putting up vegetation that would have to be maintained, right? The lack of pesticides. So those are the things that are before the planning board. And I think what Julie is bringing up is a good point. Those things have to be maintained. That is ultimately going to be a cost benefit decision of the applicant whether to do this increase or not. If they're not going to move forward with the increase in this special permit, then they don't have to follow any conditions. So we're just trying to keep all of these concerns balanced with the idea that we do have applicants here who are trying to be as thoughtful and careful about keeping the neighborhood as peaceful as possible, but also looking to expand their business in a way, because I think I did read that the solar was going to be supplying the motel itself. And so it's not like some of the solar farms we do see where there's this idea of outsourcing and making a huge profit. It's actually meant to encourage and help a business, enhance a business that's kind of been in operation for a long time. And we're just trying, what we have here is an opportunity at the planning board to offer some ways to alleviate the frustrations that are being heard by you. Okay. So maybe that's something that we think about, is like the maintenance of what kind of fencing. Obviously, a chain link fence would likely be less maintenance, right? But I've seen, like, if you go to behind Walmart in Wareham, there is a chain link fence with shrubbery, and those are growing like snails, and it's not the most attractive thing to look at, you know. So, and some of those shrubbery, like they don't survive; they turn brown. They're not the most attractive thing to see. So, in a neighborhood where there's beautiful homes that, you know, people care about and want to reflect the town of Sandwich and its character, we're hoping to be able to make some negotiations of a balance for everybody.
And on the heels of that, just kind of reiterating, it wasn't the solar array on 130, it was a solar array that we approved on Katuitt Road across from Peters Pond. They have really nice fencing. I've been by it and I thought it looked very nice. So if there's like a model of some kind, I think that would be a good one to maybe, you know, think about.
Yeah, the Katuitt, it's very nice. It's
I thought it came out really, really nice. And then there's some foliage in between one of the abutters, and I think it blocks it very well. So.
Does anyone else from the community wish to be heard at this time? No? Anyone else from the board? All right. It does seem like we need some additional information.
Yeah, definitely.
So, likely a good idea to continue this,
Yes.
and I would be seeking a motion to
I would
continue
like
this
to
public
make a
hearing.
motion to continue this, so that our town engineer has an opportunity to review the plans and advise us. Also that you folks would have an opportunity to look at what you can do, and we can have a conversation about that. So could we put it on for the next meeting?
Yeah, when is 22nd, September 22nd?
I have a question about that, just process-wise. Is that, would the idea be
16th, I'm
to
sorry, it
submit
is 16th.
another set of revised plans reflecting the discussion tonight for Sam's review?
No, I think, just so I can clarify, so there was additional information that was submitted because the text in some of the materials was not really legible. And so it sounds like Sam Jensen is going to follow up, review more in depth the information that he was given, I think today, maybe, because the file being sent was a little difficult.
But I guess but did the plans submitted today, would you update them based on what you've heard tonight, or is that your final offer?
Well, we seek your guidance with respect to, because ultimately, as I was hinting, is that I seek your guidance to let us know what exactly is the minimum that has to be done, so that we consider the pricing and all other economics before we going forward telling you that yes, we will do this. What we have so far is something that we can do it in the prices that we have as of right now. But if we do any of those additional things that are being asked, the cost benefit analysis has to be made, and then we'll basically come back and say, this is not working out, or this will work out, but a little bit of this less rather than, reaching 100% of what you're asking. So we would seek some guidance from you rather than giving.
I think we'll be in a better position to provide you with guidance if you could go and do some calculations. I think there's some consensus that at least wooden fencing and partially to block this would be very helpful. I think that would go a long way to make the neighbors feel better. I understand will be based on what Sam tells us, how big a drainage problem we have. If we have a drainage problem, that may change a lot of things because that could be costly. So I think the homework that has to be done is the town needs to be able to look at the plans closely and see, look at the drainage issue. And if you could do some cost calculations on the fencing, I think that would be a help.
Jeannie, does that answer it? Like,
Yeah,
they
I'm trying not to- I'm trying not to-
haven't set exact parameters because they're looking for our guidance on what kind of conditions we would want, and then they're gonna do like a cost benefit.
Yes, I was just trying to not have Sam give us back comments and then do the next step, and it'd be better to kind of try to do both of those in one
Yeah, I
time
think that
frame.
makes sense if, you know, Aman, if you're willing to kind of think about the costs, so that we are able to try to find a balance.
Sure.
Julie had something.
Also, with the concern for the 40 feet, I mean, can we get like a definitive answer on that? So
Yeah, maybe Leanne or Steve could answer this, but I think when the original building permit was issued, they were allowed to start construction, and then they sought because they're seeking the permit, the applicant knew that if construction was going on and they couldn't be as close, right, and they were gonna adhere to a 40-foot setback, then they may have wasted some resources to do that, knowing that we could ask for other condition.
Yeah, when the building permit was submitted, they came in to speak with us because we, marked it as incomplete as they were going through this process. However, they stated that they want to move forward with the original building permit for the reduced size. That is a 25-foot setback. That is what's currently permitted, is a 25-foot setback.
So that might
What they're proposing right now is a 40-foot setback, so if that's within it, they will have to move it. Which that was what we had talked about previously, that if you're in that setback, it's not just the capacity you're adding that gets permitted, it's the full array that gets permitted. So it might change your site design. That was the discussion we had at that time.
Okay, and that might explain why.
That it could be a little closer or something, or
It appears
if it wasn't
closer right
staked
now,
right.
but then.
Yeah, it could be a staking issue. There's numerous things, but they have to be resolved before they'll get their final sign off from a building department.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So, now that we've heard some additional comments and been given homework, I will seek a motion to continue this public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing to the
16th.
September 16th meeting.
Madam Chair, maybe we should make sure we have a quorum for that evening.
Yes, that's a great idea.
We're both not here.
Your vote, yeah.
We said that last week.
Sorry.
I will be here.
Well, I don't.
Do we need everybody here?
You need 5.
We need 5
So
of us.
that won't vote us at 4. You can't vote at 4.
Okay.
So you'd have to push to your October meeting. Whoever will be there for October. Let's see. What is that meeting schedule? 7th?
And do we think that it would make sense to revisit this to receive any additional information and then
So, and to
continue
give the
it?
public another opportunity to come back, because if we're confronted with a situation where maybe they can only do a partial wood fence and or some plantings, just some input.
On the 16th, to get
Oh,
input, or
to
to,
get
just to get it
input.
all together at the.
Oh, I see
yeah.
what you're saying.
We have no other business on the 16th. So
Okay.
we'll be meeting just for that purpose, if that was the case. We are doing our public
And
hearing
then-
for zoning on the
Let me
7th.
think. And then the members of the public would have to come back twice, so, yeah, so, right, so it probably makes sense to do it all at once.
Yeah.
So that people don't have to come back 2 times. Okay, all right. So, in light of that information,
Third's the charm, go for it.
okay.
3 times the time. I'd like to make a motion to continue this conversation, public hearing, excuse me, to October 7th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Anyone abstain? Bring up this matter will be continued to October 2nd for public hearing and follow-up materials. 7th, excuse me, October 7th.
Should we just say the time and the place? I don't know. Are we
Oh,
supposed to
yes,
the
should
time
I
and
say
place
it?
for that?
Oh, yes, okay, great.
Do I have to make another motion?
No, please tell me. This is 16. He's 4. All right. So on, she has-
October 7th, 6 p.m.
6 p.m., thank you.
Sandhill School.
Sandhill School.
Thank you.
All right, and on that note, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Members of the public.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's probably like autopilot for you.
You're doing great.
You are.
All right. We can move on to the next item, which is new business, right? Okay, this is for 7476 and 78 Route 130, approval not required for the NSG Village Green-1 LLC for the purpose of creating a new lot configuration on previously subdivided land. I see Mr. Attorney is rearing to go. This is not a public hearing, so I am first going to open the matter up to Steve for an overview.
Sure, so we've done a couple approval not required in recent meetings. The main criteria are that it has adequate frontage for the lots being created, and that there's access to a roadway that's existing and adequate, and it doesn't create a subdivision with lots. Subdivision. So it meets those requirements. Here's some additional information from the engineer there, and
Yes, I do. Would you like me to read this memo? All right. This is a memo sent to the planning board from Sam Jensen, town engineer, dated September 2nd, 2025. Subject matter being Route 130, land development, approval not required application, parcels 241, 267, 268, and 271, assessor's map 11. The engineering department has reviewed the subject application and offers the following. 1, some or all of this land is subject to a comprehensive permit recently issued to NSG Village Green-1 LLC by the Sandwich Zoning Board of Appeals. This plan would, thank you, Leanne, reconfigure that land. 2, the plan was found to generally conform with the planning board subdivision rules and regulations. Section 3A, plans believed not to require approval under the subdivision control law with the exception of, I hate saying these numbers, 3A2, 1, sufficient topographic, nope, can somebody help me out on that?
Topographic
Is it
delineation.
topographic?
Yeah.
Can I say topographic? No. Delineation to allow the board to determine if the lots have adequate access. Next, 3A2K, the plan shall be at a scale of 1 inch to 40 feet. 3A2L, whenever applicable, a statement that lots shown on the plan are part of subdivision are subject to terms and conditions of its approval, plus a reference to the subdivision name, approval date, and the recorded book and page numbers. 3A2M, the plan shall show the location of public or private wells and septic systems on all abutting properties. Item number 3 on the memo, the Board of Appeals granted waivers for 3A2K plan scale and 3A2M wells and septics as part of the comprehensive permit approval. Extension of those waivers and waiver of 3A2I topographic delineation, thank you, would not appear to be unreasonable for this A&R. It is recommended that the requirements of 3A2L be met and applicability of the comprehensive permit approval be noted on the plan. Thank you. All right, and Sam, I'm gonna send it your way. Do you have anything additional that you would like to add here?
Really, other than the fact that this plan deals with land that is subject to a comprehensive permit, it is pretty straightforward. It's land that fronts on existing roadways and has plenty of acreage and few constraints as far as the A&R approval goes. So really the little wrinkle in this one is just the comprehensive permit approval, which could be, I believe, easily corrected just with noting it on the plan, which may have since been addressed.
notation was added by the applicants to the plan to note the subdivision.
Lot 4 is subject to a comprehensive permit dated July 1st, 2025. Attorney Fitch?
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, if you remember the Wing School project, there was a division of land included with that. And you signed an approval not required plan for that. This is basically the same thing. There was a comprehensive permit application pending before the Board of Appeals, which was granted. And in the process, the Lot 4, as shown here, underwent some changes from the original application. Just a line here or there. Otherwise, it was about the same. And each of these 3 lots that are shown on there right now have sufficient frontage on a public way and area to meet the requirements of the BL1 district. But mostly this was to bring this here because it's the customary way plans are on record. The Board of Appeals could also endorse the plan, but it was discussed and recommended that we come here. So I would ask you, I have been apparently mistaken that the Board of Appeals did not grant a couple of waivers in their process. And I would ask simply that whatever waivers would be appropriate, as pointed out by Mr. Jensen, would be granted in conjunction with this endorsement.
Does anyone from the board have a comment?
There's no structures on there, so I don't see any issue with any of the waivers. I'm comfortable with it.
Do we know of any topographic features on these parcels that might in any way affect access?
I'm very familiar with these parcels, and they have plenty of access options from, which has been, I think, pretty thoroughly vetted with Board of Appeals.
In fact, what's in the works when you talk about access is there's a curb cut and a road to go in that would perhaps service all of the lots eventually, instead of having driveways on Route 130. But that's for another day. This is just Lot 4, and there will be one drive that enters off Route 130 to access Lot 4.
Does anyone else have any comment? No. And then I suppose just ask for a motion
To support endorsement.
To support endorsement? Okay. But someone has to move.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. Endorse. Excuse me. I'll make a motion to endorse the A&R application submitted for approval.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none. Endorsement moves forward. Do I have to sign something?
One there, and then it's just the one that they signed, you see the one.
All right, coming up?
Yep.
Is this the ceremonial signing table?
This is it.
Okay, so I'm gonna sign here. Top line? Top line.
Like what the deed language is?
That too, it was more of just the way,
Do you get a vacation?
And you're gonna do it short, right? I like the same thing.
Bring it up.
Thank you. I'll make sure you get a copy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's really nice
Yeah, you can plan, you can have pregame parties.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, and does it matter that I only did one signature?
picture, or do you need two blueprints? Oh, just one, just this one, yeah, so scan it in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Finch.
Need more leverage, need more leverage.
We're taking a slight intermission at this time.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting chill.
Next item is board discussion, so we can move to the Cape Cod Commission amendments to Chapter D Development Agreement Regulations. Steve and Leanne, you want to take it away?
So development agreements, you may be familiar with, the commission can engage other parties, including the state or local boards and the developer, to reach an agreement sort of parallel to the regulatory structure, and allows for different ways to mitigate impacts and be innovative to deliver community benefits when the project has impacts. So in the course of updating the regional policy plan, the commission took a look at the existing regulations for engaging in development agreements and decided there could be some streamlining that would take place. So they basically bin them up in these 4 boxes. It's largely a housekeeping exercise to make it clearer and essentially encourage access to the tool if it's appropriate. And attached to your paper packets was a document they provided that summarizes the changes by section. I think you should see the largely housekeeping arrangements to make this very explicit. Just want to make the planning board aware of some changes in how the commission's doing business. Keep it up on the radar. Specific changes here.
Is there, it did seem administrative, are there any substantive changes that we would want to be aware of?
I would not characterize them as substantive. The tool remains the same. They tried to be very explicit that it relates to projects that exceed DRI thresholds. So I think that was a clear focus to make that explicit. So for awareness, necessarily action.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Anyone have questions? No? Leanne, is there anything you wanted to add?
I'm just curious, Steve. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So, the process of the discretionary referral, has that been changed at all under the new regulations?
I have not heard any changes to that.
Okay. This is the first I'm seeing of these changes this evening, so I haven't had a chance to look at it in depth at all, but there was always a way for the towns to, if a project didn't meet certain thresholds of the Cape Cod Commission, they could then go in and, if they wanted to request county review or review by the commission, could make a discretionary referral, and the project would be referred to the Cape Cod Commission. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to take it on, but at least it's an opportunity for them to say, yeah, we think this is a project that has some regional impacts, and we'd like to.
Yeah, we've had some good engagement with them. So there's a formal discretionary referral process you're talking about, where I think it's the selectmen, the planning board, and a few other designated officials can refer it on behalf of the town. And like you said, the commission looks at what impacts there could be and their criteria, their ability to affect those impacts to see whether their review could result in a better project or not. But they've also proven to be really accessible to us when we just say, hey, can you take a look at this? You know, is there a threshold concern here or a way that we should be mindful of how the regional framework can bear on it, informally. So that's helpful too.
That's basically the root of my question is that process at all affected by this new?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Good question. We can move on, right? Yeah. So Planning Board Representatives, Community Preservation Committee. Do we have an update here?
So at our last meeting, I requested that we have a member join the Community Preservation Committee. Jeff Picard was our previous member. I am the staff liaison to that committee. We had several people interested, which was very exciting because normally it takes a lot to get someone on another committee. But in those weeks that passed, we were waiting to hear from Jack as to whether he would be willing to take on that role.
Assuming no one else really feels strongly about doing it, I'm willing to do it. You said last time that the meetings aren't every month.
They are not every month. They're the first Monday at 5:30 of every month, but we typically have about 5 a year. So we'll only meet if there's an application before then or for reorganizing. So it's usually the fall period can be a little bit heavy, and then winter. And then usually we don't meet at all in the summer. And once you're starting getting close to town meetings, we don't meet.
Yeah, the meeting starts at 5:30. That helps quite a bit. My meeting is until 7 on the first Monday. So
We're often over.
I'm happy to do it. No one else really wants it. I'm happy to do it.
I'm not available, but
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Oh, thanks.
You feel a lot of good input.
So that does require a motion.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to
elect Jack Vaccaro as your representative from the planning board?
I make a motion to elect Jack Vaccaro as our representative from the planning board to the Community Preservation Committee.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
We don't have any deliberations to do. So, are there any other matters not reasonably anticipated at this time? And
Just a reminder that your public hearing is also going to be on October 7th for zoning.
Okay, thank you, that's right.
Could I just, sorry, I don't want to be a pain in the neck, but the October 7th meeting in zoning, something I was thinking about, and maybe not for tonight, but if we could just maybe put a placeholder in. Some projects that, ADU projects that were approved in the past, right? And by that I mean prior to 2024. Those projects had a lot of conditions applied to them that wouldn't be asked of applicants today, even under the current bylaw, right? So I'm wondering, is it, in fairness, is there an opportunity for those owners, those ADU owners, to come back to the planning board and have the conditions removed from the prior approval?
If they met the conditions, so the way the state framed it, if they meet all the criteria for the protected use ADU, they can operate as such currently.
And so,
if they were larger, then they would have to still comply with the conditions that were in place at the time of their zoning.
Understood.
Yeah, so they can already go to the less restrictive version that exists.
Okay, then maybe we don't even need a placeholder for it, just for something to keep.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you want to confirm
in
that.
a few of them, we've done amnesty provisions before, where if people have been non-compliant with something, we can bring them into compliance, or just give them that boost to be able to, rent a unit that wasn't once rentable, or things like that. But in this case, it seems like if it will fit that criteria, where it is a lot less restrictive, they can do that now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Is there a motion to adjourn this
Yes,
meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none?
Good job, Nicole.
We're done.
Thank you.